Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Big Blonde and Beautiful, the podcast. If you're new here, my name's Karolina, and each episode I discuss a new piece of media with fat representation in it, and ultimately decide if it's positive or negative. This episode, we're going to be discussing the movie The Devil Wears Prada 2. Well, 2. But before we jump into that, I'm excited to reintroduce a guest. So this is my first repeat guest. You are the first.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course. It's Hayley Herms. You should recognize her from our episode on The Devil Wears Prada, which you can pause now and go listen to if you haven't, or keep listening here and listen to it afterwards. Hayley is also a model, a lifestyle creator, and digital entrepreneur known for her fearless self-love, advocacy, and inspiring presence. And I'm so excited to talk about this movie with you today.
Me too. I've been dying to talk to someone about this.
But before we get into it, how are you doing? What's new? What's been going on?
I'm good. I'm launching something huge for the plus size modeling industry very, very soon. So I'm very excited to do that and launch that. I've been working on it for 2 to 3 years. I don't want to say too much, but it's coming out in about a month. So if all I will say is, if you're a plus size model who wants to take it to the next level, or you're an aspiring plus size model, make sure you're following me because I have something very special coming out for you.
Yeah. So again, we'll do socials at the end, but I'll have everything linked below. So definitely keep an eye out for that if you're interested, for sure.
Yes.
So we're talking about The Devil Wears Prada 2 today. And I'm going to give a little synopsis, but before we get into that, I just want to say we will be doing spoilers. So, since it's so new, if you haven't seen it and you don't want any spoilers, I would recommend pausing this episode until after you watch it and then coming back. Because, I was I don't want to have to worry about, is that spoiling something?
That's so smart. I wouldn't have thought about that. So and it just came out. So I agree. Spoiler alert, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So the synopsis, it's set 2 decades after the original Devil Wears Prada. The sequel follows a recently laid off Andy, returning as the features editor of Runway to help Miranda Priestley navigate a collapsing magazine industry, a constant evolving online world, corporate takeovers, and threats from Miranda's former assistant Emily, who is now a high-powered luxury executive. Andy must choose where her loyalties lie and if she can remain under Miranda's supervision. And that's what it's about. Dun dun dun, no. It's really not that dramatic, I swear.
It's fun though.
Yes. It's not a bad sequel. I wasn't sitting there being dear Lord, is this over yet? But I also was I don't need to rewatch this.
That alone is what I needed to hear you say, because there are some people online that are completely ripping it to shreds. And The Devil Wears Prada is my favorite movie. It's in tie with one other movie, but it's my favorite movie of all times. I could recite it like a one-man show. And I didn't think the sequel was that bad. I was very nervous to be oh God, what if they ruin it? But I was okay, they didn't ruin it, but they didn't take it to the next level.
No.
They kept it at a level, which I at least appreciate. We didn't ruin this universe that's been created over the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
So I liked it, but like you said, it definitely won't be on repeat like the first one.
No. The first one's just so iconic. And I liked that they did some callbacks without being too over the top with it. The cerulean belt thing, that was a callback. And then at the end she had her a version of the sweater on.
Yes.
So those were nice. That's always nice as a fan of the original to just see those little callbacks. But sometimes movies take it way too far.
I do like that they also used some of the soundtrack from the original movie. And it wasn't the entire, obviously, same soundtrack, but there was a few music pieces that when I hear them, even if I'm not watching The Devil Wears Prada, I'm thinking of it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they used a few of the songs that were this is what helped shape the original movie. And it kind of gave me the feels again.
Yes. So the fat representation, which is what we're here to talk about. Oof.
So I think I counted 4 or 5 fat people.
Okay, you counted more than me then.
Okay, let's count together. Okay, so we have Ashley Graham.
Yeah, Caleb.
We have Caleb, the assistant. I only know this because I follow this. There's a beautiful plus size model named Lauren Chan, and she makes like a 2-second cameo in the beginning on that red carpet moment. But they shoot it from such an high angle, and you can't really see below her waist, so you wouldn't know she was plus size if you didn't know her. And she's on the smaller end of the scale, still beautiful. Obviously, we still love to have any representation we can, but if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. So that's 3. And then
there's like secretary at the end who like replaces Caleb's old position.
Exactly. And 4. Okay, 4. I counted 4.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Not enough. First of all, I love Caleb Herms so much. I looked up. I don't think this is accurate, but it said he only had 3 seconds of screen time. I want to say it was a little bit more than that.
That can't be accurate. That's not accurate.
But it was definitely less than a minute. For sure, it was not a minute worth of screen time, I don't think.
Like maybe a minute.
Maybe.
But so that, and then like Ashley Graham, we only see her for brief moments on the carpet. And then, every fat person had a very brief moment.
Yeah.
And we see so much diversity everywhere else. I just can't believe we're still not seeing it here.
Yeah.
And I know, Anne Hathaway in one of her interviews was like, we want to like make it fresh and make it current and make it. And I'm like, okay, but it's also going to be very interesting to see because it's filmed during this Ozempic era. So it's like giving us a little, but it's not giving us a lot, which I'm not surprised because what's new. But I was not thrilled about that. I thought there could have been way more plus size models. We all know Ashley Graham isn't the only plus size model.
I love Ashley, but it's like she fits such a specific type of plus size person, which is usually what the fashion industry is looking for. You got like the boobs and the butt and like a smaller waist and a flat stomach
and the arms and the visible cellulite or stretch marks. It's spray tan. And stuff like that. Like I think we can totally respect the models, but still like give our critiques because it's not critiquing them so much as critiquing our industry of being like, you guys keep giving us the same breadcrumbs. But I will say at some point, and I feel like this occurred to me after the Victoria's Secret fashion show last year, it's the fact that I feel like our industry, not even our industry, but plus size models, content creators, plus size women, we're enablers. And I say that in the sense of we get these breadcrumbs and everyone's like, oh my God, I didn't even expect to see anything. And I'm like, okay, well, the fact that we set the bar so low already is part of the problem. And then on top of it, then once you're like, here's the breadcrumbs and we take them. And not only do we take them, but they're like, this is the best breadcrumbs I've ever had. This is amazing. Then they're like, okay, we can just keep doing more of the same and everyone will be satisfied and happy. Yeah. And I'm not satisfied. No. And happy.
Not at all.
I'm just so tired. I've been in the plus size modeling industry since I was 12 virtually. And we're in the same place as we were in, I would say like 2017 and 2016, maybe even further back, but it's like the same place. And if not a little bit has disappeared from it as well. So I just feel like The Devil Wears Prada 2. It was nice. The cast was nice, but we could have been nicer. So I don't want to sit here and be an enabler and be like, it was just so great to at least see a couple fat faces because it wasn't. You could have brought in Precious Lee. You could have brought in Paloma. Like if you really wanted to just go that route, there's like 10 other models you could have brought in with the same star quality, the same fame, the same attention, and you would have still got a very quality curated movie. Yeah. So it was disappointing to see.
It was. It felt like it was just ticking a box. And they were like, okay, well, this person's on screen for 5 seconds. We're good. Let's move on. And also, one of the callbacks that they do is Andy goes into Miranda, and Miranda I feel like she's pretending like she doesn't know her. She knows who she is.
No, girl. I thought that was very interesting on their part to play the like, who is she? But like, I feel like towards the end you get it that she always knew who she was. She was just trying to be a hard ass. But I do think it would have been a little funnier had she been like kind of shocked, like who brought you back? And like, you know, but that's the thing about Miranda. You don't know what she's going to do. Right. Yeah, so I feel like there's parts of Miranda that I'd love to hear what you think about this new storyline where she comes in vulnerable and comes in kind of like, can I say ass kissing?
Yeah, you can curse.
She comes in kind of ass kissing of like trying to, you know, please the upper management, the upper team.
Yeah.
I do think obviously we do need to be thoughtful of the things that we say and do, but I also wondered if it was going to be super PC. Gen Z coded is what I hear the term is, where it's overly modified and safe. And I didn't feel super that way because I actually kind of liked when in the movie, Miranda fumbles over and they're like, oh, I heard we're supposed to bring in like a body positive, body special.
Where's your car noir? I'd like to talk about the looks that we're going to feature in the Brera Academy show. Some of the bodies are very interesting, very body negative. No, don't tell me. I know this. Body positive. But why, really, when you think about it?
Like, she's like, she doesn't know the term, and then she's like, why do we have to do this? And I was like, okay, that at least keeps some authenticity going.
She is very authentic. She's not a body positive girly. She's not even a body neutral girl. I swear to God.
Exactly. So, I mean, I was like, at least they kept it real a little bit. Like, so that was like very interesting to see. But I still, even now, don't know how I feel about us putting Miranda like in such a low power structure. Like, I could have got it, but it was like, damn, she can't throw jackets at anyone anymore.
I'm going to be working late tonight, so I'm just going to need a couple things. First, is Miranda hanging up her own coat? Oh, yeah, I heard there were some HR complaints. Apparently, she used to just throw her coat at people.
Like, people hold her purse, and when they said the HR thing, I was like, I get it, but there's definitely still, I think one of the beautiful parts about the first movie, even though the fashion industry is obviously not perfect, for lack of better words, there's still all these things going on, and people think it's exaggerated, it's a movie, and I was like, no, this is like exactly what's happening. If not, it's probably a little bit worse. So I like that they have that in the first movie, and I wish we could have had a little bit more truthness, I guess. You know, I feel like HR would still get involved today. I feel like, okay, we have this and that, but they're definitely still being a little bit more shady and callous and moving with intention. So that's why I did like Emily's storyline. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I'm just naive, but it did catch me off guard. I don't know. What did you think?
I didn't expect her to be like, I'm taking over Runway now with my stupid billionaire boyfriend.
Yes. I was just like, okay, I get this is real life. Like, many girls end up like Emily, working at Chanel, Prada, Dior, and then end up with a super rich guy. And in the movie, you're like, I can't tell if she really loves him or this or that. But then obviously when we find out the plan, I was like, oh no, this makes sense. But also I'm kind of crushed because I wanted the three of them to come together as like this dynamic duo. So it didn't exactly shock me that Miranda backstabbed Emily, but at the same time, they were such a strong trio that I just like, I wanted them to be besties at the end of the movie, but maybe I'm just being selfish.
Miranda is always Miranda first. Like, I mean, the way that she stabbed Stanley Tucci's character in the back, the last movie. Okay, Nigel, that's what it is. I was like, what's his name? I can't remember. Nigel. So like, she's definitely like for herself. And I think Emily's has a very, I mean, she was trained under Miranda. So like, she has similar mentalities. And I also think in terms of like, was she really attracted to her boyfriend? I think Emily solely is attracted to power and money and like looking hot. And I don't think that she really cares about the other stuff. That's just extra. I really think that she's like, whatever term you would use to be like sexually attracted to money and power.
Yeah, I see that. And I like the way that you explain that. And I can definitely see those elements. And that's how she kind of always was. So I'm not surprised, just a little sad, but I'm not disappointed per se. But I will say, can we talk about the fashion?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the fashion? I really need a girly pop to talk to.
I thought they kind of played it safe. And then also when they were like in the closet or whatever at Runway and she was like, I have to wear this outfit. And then it was that jumper. I think it was a jumper.
Okay. No, that is not quiet. That is like a screaming guitar solo. Sorry.
That is so pretty.
Yes, it is, but it's inappropriate for this occasion. Sorry. Not a stain. Not even a hint of a stain. Nothing. I mean nothing.
He's not a kid anymore.
Oh God, I can't understand.
Choose the best for you.
That's as soon as we get them, okay, Jen?
I was like, that's the outfit that you were like, I must wear this. Which, I mean, to each their own, but I was like expecting something so over the top.
Same.
And it was not.
Same. I think they played it way too safe. Things were giving not casual. They were giving chic. They were giving elegant, but nothing was giving me style, fashion.
Yeah.
Like it's giving like, okay, this is what all the girlies are wearing. This is what everyone's putting together. But like, you know, in the first movie, like when they're talking about like the Oscar de la Croix and like matching this crazy dress with this cerulean bell and like this and then like I'm expecting style.
Yeah.
Like just like stuff we've never seen, like almost like Sex in the City of like, you look at what Carrie's wearing and you're like, what the fuck? But then you look at it and you're like, you know what? The confidence really just makes it like everything.
Does.
And so like I was a little disappointed in the fashion. I think there was parts where I was like, okay, that's cute. This is great. But nothing that stood out fully. Nothing
it was
that
also
was
very muted colors other than the jumper, which I feel like it was kind of playing into what people are like now calling like the clean girl aesthetic. I wonder if that was like gaining traction more when the film was being made. I don't know.
I get it. No, I get it. It's very like on the times, but at the same time, I don't know. As someone who goes to like New York Fashion Week every year, no one's playing it safe.
No.
Everyone's, for the most part, like wearing avant-garde things. And even if they're not designer, they're styling it in such an eye-catching way that you don't have to have millions to be a part of fashion. You just have to have a sense of style, a sense of uniqueness. And so I really wanted to see that more because like right now I can only think of like a few outfits. But when I think the Devil Wears Prada #1, oh my God, like just alone that one like 10-second scene where they have her getting off the subway every day in a different outfit. Each one of those outfits slayed. And I feel like you could have even brought that back today. Not that I want to see a double, but like if the Devil Wears Prada 1 came out now, those outfits would still be like to die for.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think we could have stepped it up on the fashion. I would even say like Ashley Graham probably had the most like standout piece on the carpet. Now that I'm kind of like thinking about it, I loved Emily's outfits. I really did. But at the same time, she's just wearing labels the whole time with the, Dior logo on everything, which is very pretty. Again, elegant, chic, all the things. But it's not exactly giving me fashion. It's giving runway ready that you could have went in Chanel and been like, what goes together? And they just gave you like a matching set. Mm-hmm. So I am a little disappointed with the fashion.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. But we're not landing on great here, especially with that.
And this movie so much is about, it's literally a fashion magazine. Like they could have pushed the envelope way more than they did.
Pushed it. We could have seen like on sets again, and that's where they could have brought in more of the body visibility.
Mm-hmm.
If we threw in more in the first movie when she goes to the runway previews and she has the meetings, and like they could have brought in a model that was like plus size, or they could have put a model on set, or I feel like there's little things where we could have just tweaked things and shown more representation. Mm-hmm. Especially with the fashion. That would have been so amazing to see, because we're seeing so many plus size models put out these like their own self-published shoots that are just like, if they're doing this by themselves, the magazines should have way more power. So I know this is a movie, but I feel like we should have imitated life a little bit more,
Yeah. I was super, like, I literally wrote in my notes, I'm pissed in all caps, because I was like, with the way that Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep were talking about like how they were wanting and asking for more body diversity, and I was like, but I didn't see it. There was like you said, crumbs, the tiniest of crumbs. And then I know that they also talked about like they didn't want to glorify like super, super skinny, like what we're seeing right now, which I appreciate. But I'm like, is that your version of body diversity, is like just not putting people out there that look like they are going through like a really bad eating disorder right now, like heroin chic type of thing? Because I'm like, that's good start, but you could have gone way more.
And then if we're just going to take it like a little step further, let's just take it one more inch. We named 4 fat people, and I almost don't even want to count Lauren, because you can't see that she's plus size and you can't see her full body. So let's just pretend she doesn't exist. And let's go with the 3 main fat people. 2 of them are assistants. We're not seeing, in theory, the diversity in fashion.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say they promised us, but what they made it sound like it was going to be. And
I think they promised it. I feel like they did. When you're saying stuff like that in interviews, I wonder how much of the movie they see before they do those interviews. Because I'm like, did you guys know?
The whole script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know that they're probably not the end all be all on set.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, the way it came across in the interview was, our voices are important, and we've voiced this concern, and they're going to take in that concern. And we just have so much diversity in this movie. And so I was really excited to see like, which plus size models are we using? Like, and the whole thing in the opening scene, like, okay, if you knew you were only going to use like one scene where you showcase a plus size person in fashion, not an assistant, but literally in fashion, we could have added 2 more plus size bodies to the red carpet, and at minimum.
Yeah.
And a lot of those high fashion girlies, Paloma, Ashley, all of them, they're all in New York. So it's not like you're like, we're flying her out from Paris, or we're flying her from LA. They're all pretty local. And so it just kind of, to me, fed into the stereotype of like the fat, funny friend, because that's what Kayla, the fat, funny assistant. And then what do we see at the end? Oh, replaced by another fat, funny girl.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we're still in the trope. We're still doing the fat, funny thing.
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
think
disappointed.
that was their attempt at like a more modern version of like how I at least appreciate that Anne Hathaway was not called fat. She did like she was kind of like, remember the smart fat girl that you like hired? But other
Yeah.
than that, they don't call her fat. If that was their way of being like, look, there's actual smart fat people that are assistants now. But even then, I feel like my biggest problem is with Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep saying publicly that it was going to be more diverse. And then I also remember them bragging, like majority of the previous, like the original cast, bragging about how they had all these stipulations that they needed in order to be in the movie. They're like, I want my character to be like this, or I need this to happen. I'm like, why couldn't you have made one of the stipulations body diversity?
Yeah. I think so as well. And I think unfortunately that's where we go back to like that lower standard of like people cuz I don't even want to believe they're just like, oh, it was just a mistake. Like it feels intentional.
Yeah.
And I feel like even if it was a nod to that and we were like being like, here's actual smart
Fat people. Yeah.
fat people, we could have just had a model say something smart because then you would have got like a double entendre there. A model that's fat saying something smart, like, or like interacting, especially you have those interview moments where they like go like on the red carpets and on the press events in the movie, like where you see glimpse of stars and stuff. I'm like, well, that there was more opportunities to not, because no offense, like Ashley didn't even have lines really. Like I don't even remember her saying anything. It was just like her on the red carpet. And so it's like, okay, well, we have 99.9% of the movie is all narrated by thin people. Like I just don't understand how we sit around a production table of hundreds of people for a movie that obviously has a huge, immense budget and just be like, this is enough.
I feel like in order to have that many straight-sized models, they had to have overlooked plenty of plus-size models. Because they had to have a lot for all the fashion shows.
Yes. And to be fair, I know the website that their background actors were casted on for these parties, and they made it sound like we're looking for everyday people. And then you like read the description further and it'd be like, we're looking for chic, glamorous, this or that. So for me, as someone who sees these castings, that's like, we're looking for diversity, which tells me, because I wasn't the only one who submitted, right? I'm not mad, obviously, that like, oh, I didn't get picked to be an extra or whatever. But they use like celebrities and content creators as extras, not like the regular people that they made it sound to be like in the casting, which I personally saw. I know like the world didn't see that. But so not only hearing those interviews, but seeing those castings, I genuinely was like, wow, they're really going to have diversity. And there's so many plus size content creators. Like even if it was that serious of background work, you could have had a handful of creators there that were in style. So I want to say, like, to a degree, it was intentional because I'm sure I'm not the only plus size person that applied to just in general even be an extra.
Yeah.
And that's how hard I looked in the movie. Was I was literally looking for
binoculars, like where are they?
And I'm like, okay, the fats are not here. We're not even in the cafeteria. Like, so
nope.
It feels intentional. Like I want to say like, yeah, it's just like a play on something, but someone, at least one person, most likely a team of 10, went through all those castings and was like, give us all the thin.
Yeah.
All the thins.
I think another way for them to get around it was using the word like chic, like you said, because I feel like unfortunately the world doesn't see fat people as chic. And so just that right there kind of, when you said that, felt like what's like a micro like fat phobic like we're looking for chic people. And it's like, but do you think that fat people, because we can, but do you think that fat people can be chic? Obviously not, because they didn't put us in the movie.
And I have to imagine they also think about things like wardrobe, and they think like, oh, it's probably going to be like impossible to dress all these people. And I think it's easy to go with Ashley Graham because you can call designers and be like, hey, it's Ashley Graham, get the dress. You know what I mean? But if you looked further in the plus size industry, a lot of our favorite plus size brands are coming out of New York. And I know stylists like Kelly Augustine who have closets and storage rooms and archives of plus size fashion. Yeah. And all you need to do is just take an hour or two Google search. The information's there. That's what's also frustrating is it's not like 2010 anymore where we have like 6 whole choices. We obviously still have a long further way to go, but there are available choices, especially in New York. And not only are the choices there, but the people that can make those things happen are also there. So I feel like we can't sit here and be like, oh, there's no plus size stylists in New York, or no one has archival plus size. When we saw at the Met Gala a couple weeks ago in the body diversity room, I was like, there was more diversity in these mannequins than there was the movie.
I know, right?
Interesting, because that's what they were celebrating.
And on the Met Gala carpet.
Exactly.
I'm like, y'all, you can't. It's so annoying. It feels like we're just like trotted out to be like, look, we're so inclusive. Look at us. And then, like, in reality, it's just
it doesn't even feel like an afterthought. It feels less than that. And so I just, again, it's like it's like the Sydney Sweeney ad, the jeans thing, where you look at it and you know a room of like 100 people all pass this off to the next level.
They're like, sounds good. And you're like, does it though?
Exactly. So it just, overall, we could have tried harder. We could have done better. The resources were there. The teams were there. The models were there. So it's giving lazy.
Yeah. It's even easier now compared to the first movie to find plus size people because of social media. They're all over.
So much. Like, I would have like the first Devil Wears Prada, I'll give it everything. We literally only had like Torrid. And even then at that time, Torrid wasn't Torrid that we know it today. Torrid was originally, or I don't know if it still is, but in conjunction with Hot Topic. And I know that because I was a fat little emo girl going to Torrid buying their red skinny jeans. You know what I mean? So I'll give them that. And we didn't have influencer culture and everything like we do today. But now there's absolutely no excuse. And so we kind of it's just kind of a letdown. And I don't know. I guess I'm very curious. Like, I wish I could like sit down with people like Anne and Meryl and just be like, what to you in this movie screamed body diversity?
Yeah. What, like, is it in the room with us?
Enough for you. Exactly. Like, even because, like, for example, when they have those board meetings and like 12 of them would sit around the table and the HR girls there and the whole thing, there could have even been a fat person there. But like, I don't know. Even you could have made a fat stylist. There's plenty of fat stylists that don't cater to fat people, but still work in the industry.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's so many
lazy and not forgiving.
Yeah. There's so many avenues they could have taken to make it more diverse. Did they have, I can't remember because I was so focused on fat representation. Did they have also like disabled representation, like people with disabilities?
So it's funny you said that. I thought about that after the thought and I was like, wait, I don't think I saw anyone in a wheelchair or any other disability per se, you know? And I also thought that was kind of weird. because
Yeah.
the Met Gala, which this movie is in conjunction with, essentially, we just saw like a trans model paraplegic, or they were in a wheelchair. I'm so sorry. I don't know their full story, but I know that they're trans, they're in a wheelchair, and they're disabled, and they're a model. And I'm like, where was this in the movie?
Yeah.
Like even the movie's not resembling our real life. We still don't have like a ton of those people on the carpet, but we're still seeing more here in real life than we do in the movie. And usually you'd see a switch around of like, oh, well, at the Met Gala, there was only 2, but in the movie, there's like 7. That would be realistic. I'm like, no, we're not even getting close to that. Anna Wintour herself is being more accepting, I guess you could say, than any other prior years. So I feel like if any time was the time was now, and we missed the mark. Obviously, we'll still have moments coming, but as a pivotal movie in fashion, that no matter what size you are, if you're a fashion girly, you watched it. It's probably your Bible, like if you're a model too. And so it's just,
it's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
Yeah. I was really disappointed. I literally was looking everywhere. I was like, background, anything, and it just was not there. And it sucks. I feel like a big part of it also maybe was they're like, well, we don't want to look like we're being too woke. And I'm like, why is it being woke to include different types of people?
Exactly.
So annoying.
Like, you don't need to put any corny jokes in. You don't like, that's when it gets like woke, is when you take the jokes I don't even want to say too far, because that's not the right language, but like when you take the jokes to be such like appropriate, over censored, like we can still respect comedy. As a fat person, I can still laugh. Like when she said the body positive thing and she wasn't happy about it, I could laugh because that's true to the fashion industry. It's true to Miranda's character. It made sense. We can take a joke, you know, but being a little too sensitive with it, that's when people feel like, oh, this is out of touch, or they censored it way too far. And I'm like, I could see that, but at the same time, like, then how can we include diversity? Like, what is the palatable way for us to get to the next level? Because we've been at this level for 10, 15 years. What's the next step? If you don't want shocking, if you don't want out of the blue, what is the next palatable response to having our bodies showcased in a movie? And again, like, I hate to like keep quoting the statistic, but a majority of the women in America are size 18. So
you're missing this whole market. And guess what? We look good. So
we look good. We look better than we've ever looked before. We have more options than we had before, even though we need more.
Yes.
But at the same time, this is not this isn't like an indie stylist. This is people that had budget. So they can't be like, we couldn't afford this. We couldn't add that. Like, you could have added all the things. I know someone who works at TikTok, and it costs, I think, about $500,000 to run an ad. When you first open your TikTok, that first ad that pops up, like $500,000. And I'm like, okay, you had $500,000 to run TikTok ads on minimum, but we could sell out like 20,000 to some plus size wardrobe fashion. Like, I don't know, maybe I don't know who they were working with, but just like a thought, maybe they could have worked closer with the people at the Met Gala and the exhibitions and the curator to get a little more in touch of what's coming in the industry. Because even though we might not be seeing it on the runways, at the end of the day, Vogue, Anna Wintour, they're leading the fashion way in America here. And if they can put this on display, then everyone else should be running and taking notes with it. So it's very interesting to me that the fashion gatekeeper herself can allow something like that, but then everyone's like, no, that's too far. That's too much. There's got to be some kind of repercussion, especially in places that were made for us that are no longer made for us.
That's one of the most frustrating things, is I'm like, you built your business on us being your customers, and now you're like, screw you. We don't care anymore. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, I can't even imagine being able to just walk into any store and find my size and like find cute things. Like if I lost my luggage or something, depending on where I'm at, I'd be screwed.
My biggest fear. That's my biggest fear, is losing my luggage and being like, oh, I literally have to be naked. Like, I have to wear the same outfit every day on vacation. Like, it's such a genuine concern that you can have, especially because luggage goes missing all the time. And like, I just, and I feel like what we're seeing a lot of these plus size brands say is like, oh, like, people just aren't buying that size.
And I'm like, ugly.
That part too. But also, did you market it even half as hard as you did your models 12, 14, 16, and maybe 18? Because maybe if people saw a size 24, 26 wearing that, they might be like, wow, this brand carries my size. But no, I'm not going to think it's super inclusive if I'm not seeing inclusive models wearing it. So I feel like that has to go hand in hand somehow. Because, for example, like, we see, like, for example, Skims. they're 3X, 2X, 4X, always selling out, which means they're not buying enough.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're at least smart enough to market. I'm not saying we're seeing a whole lot of fat girls all over the Skims feed, but I've at least seen girls with bellies, and I've at least seen some, non-quintessential arms on there, you know? And so at least I can know, like, there's probably something there for me. So I think a lot of brands, especially the plus size brands that are deciding to go backwards, need to sit down and being like, okay, why are these sizes not selling? Was it a marketing thing?
Are they not
because we
trends?
made everything else in one pattern and fabric and decided to go rogue on the extended sizes? Like,
I hate when they do that.
It's not because people are not buying them, because we know statistically these people exist in America. And even if they can't shop like you every day, they'll shop a sale, they'll shop a holiday event, they'll get the birthday coupon. Like, at some point they'll be triggered to do it, but that's only if they know that they can do it in that place. So to me, I think we're just missing the mark on advertising. Most of all, put it on camera. Let us see what it looks like. And it's also very interesting to me. I just filmed a reel with my friends, and we were all different body types, but it was very interesting to me how my friend who's an extra small stood next to my friend who's a large, and their bodies don't look that different.
No.
But the weight just sits differently on, like, the hips or the this or what, and they had flat tummies still. And it was just still very interesting to see. Like, in my mind, if I would have seen them, I'd be like, oh, she's probably like a medium. She's probably like a medium. I would almost say they were more near the same
giving
size.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Exactly.
Where they're all like the same size, they just carry it differently, which is why the jeans fit.
And that's why we need that representation, because, like, even if you take one size, if you take a 3X and put it on one body and put it on another body, you could put them right next to each other and they will look so different. And, like, it's just crazy to me. And that's another reason why the representation is so important, not just so we know it's there, but so we know it looks different on everybody. This new trend of act your weight is actually there. And if you're not familiar with it and you're listening, there's a girl who went viral on TikTok telling people that who weigh 160 plus to act their weight. And it was so interesting seeing girls come out, putting their weight out there, showing their bodies. And not that we should be judging people's weight, but if we're playing the mind game, you would never think like, oh, she weighs that much or she wears that size. It's very interesting to see, but I also think it's very beautiful to see how you could still even be the same size as someone and look completely different. Or you could have two different sizes on different ends and they still somehow look similar. It's very nuanced. It's very fascinating. And I think that's why the marketing aspect is just so important.
Absolutely.
Which was why it was detrimental that Meryl and Anne kept the body positivity, because you marketed us something that wasn't there.
And I feel like for me personally, the most upsetting part was I was looking forward to seeing it and I was very hopeful because I thought maybe if a movie franchise that is so known for being like the first movie's pretty fat phobic. I mean, they're calling Anne Hathaway fat and that girl is skinny mini.
If you need a refresher, you guys go listen to the original episode. We go over this.
But I was like excited because I thought maybe this will push brands to be like, yeah, we do need more body diversity. We do need to be making all of our clothes in like all the sizes and things. And then that didn't happen. And I was like, dang, who's gonna wake them up now? Like, how are we gonna be like, please? And even you were talking about Skims, even True American, who has built their brand on the fact that Chloe felt so like shamed because she didn't look like her sisters. And they had, I think, 00 to 32. Now they've like cut that in half.
They cut it and it's crazy because one of their biggest viral moments was they went famous for creating the size 15 jean because they were seeing so many women not fitting into the 14, not fitting into the 16. And they're like, there's so many women that are a size 15, which is plus size, that we need to create this jean. So it's so interesting to see a brand lead in innovation in the plus size industry so far ahead for a few years and then be like, actually, we're not innovative anymore. We're rolling back. And it's hard because I want to say the price point is where it gets people. Cause like, yeah, who wants to spend $100 on jeans when you could go spend $70-$80 on jeans at Torrid? And if they're on sale, maybe get them for 40. You know, there's things like this, but also at the same time, are you marketing to the rich plus size people? Because they're out there. They're out there. And it's very interesting to me how many plus size women I know have money, but they don't know where to shop. And like they ask me for recommendations. They don't have a budget, which is like all the things you want to hear, right? Like, for example, when you go to Gucci, you can't find plus size woman Gucci, but you go to the Gucci men's section and they're going up to like a 3, 4, 5X.
Yeah.
So it's like very, again, these tropes and these things here. And it's like, okay, because we are constantly marketing to wealthy men that it doesn't matter your size as long as you're wealthy. But for women, we have every single rule we need in place. So I feel like no one's reaching out to the fat, rich women and being like, hey, your guys' dollar could make a difference. We're going to advertise to them. We're going to put extra effort because they are there. Like, so there's a lot that goes into it, but I'm going to take it back to marketing. The marketing is where we're failing, and they're putting so much money into the same stuff and then being like, no one's buying it. Okay, well, if you're trying the same thing over and over again, maybe you should change it.
That's literally the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
I feel insane.
It does make you feel nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So with the Devil Wears Prada 2, in terms of positive or negative fat representation, what would you say?
I'm gonna go negative.
Same. I will say that like Caleb being in it, I literally love Caleb so much. Ashley Graham, amazing. But like, it's just so bare minimum, and they could have done so much more. That for me,
and I'm
it's
sorry,
negative.
but there's fat guys in everything. There's like, I'm not saying fat guys don't get bullied, they don't get harassed, whatever, but it is much, much, much easier to be a fat man in society as long as you have like a job and a career than it is to be a fat woman. So again, not only like we have the fat funny friend, but now we're giving it to a man. And it's like, I still think he fits perfectly for that role because of fashion. But again, we only have 3 spots to give to fat people.
Yeah.
So it's hard because I love Caleb to death. Like I laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh, and I still want him there. I just wanted more fat women in power showing like, hey, I'm not the funny friend. I'm the powerful rich friend. They could have made one of those rich friends fat. Okay,
Yeah,
Lucy Liu could have had a fat best friend in the movie, you know?
Or Lucy Liu. I love Lucy Liu, but they could have just like put a fat woman instead.
Exactly. Some kind of, there was openings. There was room. There was room. But I'm going to have to go with the negative.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, do you want to plug your socials for the people so that they can find you and follow and make sure they stay tuned for what's coming in a month?
Yes. So on a positive note, you can find me on Instagram at Hayley Herms Official, HayleyHerms Official. And I'm also that on TikTok. You can find me the same way on YouTube and all the things. And just make sure you're watching my stories. Yeah. I'm launching a lot more stuff on TikTok first. So I will say that's probably where the first announcement will come. But make sure you stay tuned to everything because I feel like no one's done what I'm doing for the plus size industry. And so it's even more exciting, but even more scary to put it out there. But I think it'll be worth the time and energy. And even if it doesn't get like the most attention at first of anything, I'm just happy to be contributing something more than what we're seeing to the community.
Yeah, we'll have all of that linked below, like I said earlier in the episode, as well as the podcast socials and my personal socials. As always, this is an independently created, produced, edited, all the things. So sharing, liking, subscribing, 5 stars, commenting, all those things are very, very helpful, and I very much appreciate it. And until next time, stay fat and fabulous. Bye.
Yay.